1914 in Lafayette, Alabama. But at age 12, his family moved from rural poverty to the poverty-stricken inner city areas of Detroit, Michigan. His mother aspired for him to play the fiddle and gave him a few coins to pay a tutor for lessons. Joe would instead use his weekly allowance to pay for fees at the local boxing gym. The signs of immense potential shone brightly for the young amateur, and with the help of financial backers managing his career, the public bore witness to a meteoric rise that was unprecedented for a man of his ethnicity.
Joe Louis, the colored sensation who packs dynamite in both gloves. And he's been compared with Jack Johnson. The former amateur is greatly fancied as the coming world champion.
Never had the world seen an offense-minded fighter with such refined technical abilities. Crowds of up to 95,000 gathered to witness what was claimed to be the greatest fighting man ever produced. A concussion machine with fists like artillery, Louis quickly earned the nickname, the Brown Bomber. Commanding the center of the ring, Joe fired shots that his opponents remember the morning after. Seek and destroy, the hallmark of all Louis fights. Because for Joe, two men in a ring was a crowd, so the other man had to go.
Joe Louis had come along, and he was something that was a revelation. They had never seen anything like this. He was given the title Invincible because he was just walking right through within a year of the top 10 heavyweights and then the ex-champions.
Got him with the left that time, and bears down again.
Louis was just an all-around great fighter, great pinpoint accuracy, great crushing power, great finishing skill, killer instinct.
Here we see a sensational left jab, and watch this tremendous right hand.
He's standing against the rope that takes a terrific right and a knockdown.
Way beyond this time, you see films of Joe Louis and you would think that it's a future fighter, something to come. I've never seen anything before or since Joe Louis.
The technique is what allowed his talent to really shine. He could punch like hell, and he threw perfect punches. He threw everything short, everything straight, and he was a great finisher. When he hurt you, forget about it. Say goodbye, because he got you out of there.
He is down from a hard right smash to the jaw.
This is the book of Micah, chapter 2, verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. So the inspiration for this lesson came from the late, great Joe Louis. You know, so I was watching, boxing archives, and I wasn't aware of Joe Louis's full story, but I just, I was having a hard time sleeping last night, so I came across a video and I watched it, and when I seen the story, I was, well, to say it lightly, I was fucking pissed, man, on how they did this chick, but it just goes to show you that, the curses is still on us, man, So before I get started, I want to thank Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. And I want to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and the elders of GMS who teach and rule well, who taught me this truth. Salutations to you brothers and sisters that are out there listening and learning, fighting this good fight of faith. And salutations to my fellow brethren that are pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. To all, I want to say shalom. And I hope and pray that this lesson be edifying to the elect. So, this is going to be a lesson, pretty much just highlighting that. And this is how we know that, the curse in Deuteronomy 28th chapter absolutely identifies that you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are indeed the Israelites, man. And this is a testament to that, Excuse me. So before I get started, before I get that picture, right, this is Joe Louis versus the IRS. So before I explain it, I want to read it, so you brothers and sisters can see what, for any of you newer listeners that didn't know this history, like I didn't know prior to yesterday or last night. For edification purposes, I want to read through his life, so brothers and sisters can see what I'm speaking about. So and Lord's will, I'll put like a clip in the beginning of how great of a boxer he was, how great of a giver he was, how great of a brother. You know, he truly wanted to help, you know, his people, man. You know, but it, you know, it just shows that the curses are just on us, and that no matter what we tried to do, they showed, you know, we've seen that through Marcus Garvey, we've seen that through Muhammad Ali, you know, we've seen that through the Black Panther Party, we've seen that through Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, you know, the list goes on, you know, of Jake trying to, basically establish themselves within Esau's kingdom. And this is further proof that it will never happen, because the Lord, Yahawashi, said that that's not how it's going to be. Yahawashi, they're the ones that are going to establish righteousness. You know, they're the ones that are going to bring us back to a royal estate, back to who we're, you know, who we were always intended to be, you know, a royal people, you know, and the ones that are gonna heal us, you know, as the scriptures say, you know, the whole head is sick, you know, it's full of putrefying sores, man, and the only one that can heal us is Yahawashi, man, and there's no other way. And the Lord is showing this through different examples, and through the spirit and power of Yahawashi, this is a different example that I came across myself as a younger brother, you know, when I just wanted to bring it forth to the forefront to any brothers and sisters that may not have heard of it, you know. So this is Joe Lewis, and it reads, exactly 60 years ago in the early summer, so this was published in 1997. It says, exactly 60 years ago in the early summer of 1937, Michigans took great pride in the outcome of a fight in Chicago. Joe Lewis, brown bomber from Detroit, captured heavyweight boxing crown of knocking out James Braddock in 8 rounds. Lewis had quick reflexes and a strong punch. Some experts think he was the best heavyweight ever. In the 12 years after he beat the stuffing out of Braddock, Lewis defeated 24 challengers, 22 by knockout. His hardest fight, however, was not with Max Schmeling, I think, which is a German fighter, if I'm not mistaken, or Rocky Marciano, but with the IRS. In 1914, the year Joe Lewis was born, the income tax had only been in place 1 year. The top rate was a mere 7%, and high exemption kept most Americans off the tax rolls altogether. Even by 1931, the year Joe Lewis began boxing seriously, the income tax was so minimal that only 2% of Americans even qualified to pay it. When he earned over $371,000 in his first 2 years as a professional boxer, Lewis immediately helped family and friends all over the country, right? So it's just laying the groundwork for the type of man that you know, Joe Lewis was, you know. For example, he voluntarily paid back the government welfare payments his stepfather had received during the Great Depression. Later, he supplied a house for an elderly Indian, right, another Jake, on property he owned. He also brought needed uniforms for a group of so-called black army officers. Lewis wanted private citizens to solve many of the problems that Americans have increasingly turned to the government to solve. Slovakia. He opposed many of President Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal programs and campaigned for Republican candidate Wendell Willkie for president in 1940. Before the election, Lewis sent Willkie this telegram: "Win by a knockout, it will mean freedom from the WPA, and the American Negro Rights. Meanwhile, tax rates from the ever-growing government that Lewis opposed were heading toward the stratosphere. 1 month after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, here's the point. 1 month after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the generous Lewis gave his entire 65,200 fee, which is about 700,000 in today's money, from a fight to the to the U.S. Navy Relief Fund. Less than 3 months later, he gave his 45,882 purse from another fight, which is about 500,000 in today's money, to the Army Relief Fund, the U.S. Army Relief Fund. Ever the patriot, he halted his lucrative boxing career and enlisted as a private, earning only $21 a month from the Army. So he donated 2 of his fights, a total of, what is that, 1,200, right? 1,200, or in today's money, $1,200,000, 1.2 million, to the government, right? To these fucking crackers, right? And then not only did he do that, then he felt so strongly about helping Babylon, aka America, that he enlisted himself in as a private for $21 a month that he was earning. Let's see, let me try to get straight to the point. I don't want to make this too long. So during the 1940s, the top marginal rate was hiked to 90%, and Joe Louis found himself over $500,000 in debt to the IRS in back taxes. Roosevelt's new tax laws were complicated, and Louis, unlike later successful athletes, had no tax shelters, municipal bonds, or clever accountants. The IRS would not let him deduct the 2 fight purses he had donated to the Army and the Navy. He couldn't even deduct $3,000 worth of tickets that he had bought for soldiers to one of those fights. Not even the tickets that Joe Louis had bought for American soldiers to go be entertained and motivated and whatnot to his own fight. $3,000 they wouldn't even allow him to deduct from his debt. Now here is a man, an Israelite man, that not only, because if when I was watching the video, he brought great morale, during the time, because it was a German that he had fought. I think that was Max, and over in Germany during Hitler at that time, those damn Edomites over there were screaming that they were the superior race, this, that, and the third. There's no way that this brown man would beat them. And Joe Louis whooped this fucking cracker's ass in 1 round. Whooped his ass. So that put all that shit to silence. So he made morale within the country. They said there was more unity between Jakes and Edomite. But it just goes to show you that that was never the Lord's program. That's why it never works out like that. So I'm gonna leave this article in the description. I'll put some the links in the there's some videos, in the post production.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The White House has just announced that the Japanese are attacking military and naval establishments on the island of Oahu.
As soon as the war reached the nation's soil, Joe's first instinct, without hesitation, was to serve his country in every way he could.
The most unusual heavyweight championship contest in the history of boxing. For in this short but sensational encounter, Louis risked his $1 million title without 1 cent of compensation. Never before and probably never again, unless Lewis himself should do it, has a champion donated his entire purse in the bright and brave cause of patriotism.
Tell me, Joe, how's about this working for nothing? How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm not working for nothing. I'm working for my country, and I think that's about the greatest piece of work that anybody can do.
Twice, Joe defended his title and donated the entirety of both purses to the United States Navy and Army Relief Fund. The very next day, Lewis would enlist in the Army.
What's your name, Joe?
My name is Joe Louis Barrow.
What's your occupation?
Fighter, and let's get at them jobs.
To the United States government, Joe was now an emblem of patriotism and their ambassador for Army recruitment. For the next several years, Lewis was sent where he was needed, publicly speaking to bolster morale and performing in close to 100 exhibition bouts to entertain millions of troops.
I'm glad to be here, and I hope everybody enjoyed this exhibition, and I hope to put on more in the Army camp.
There were stories out there that they were not going to let the black servicemen come to the exhibitions. He said, I'm not going to sit here and entertain only the white troops when we've got a bunch of black troops who want to be entertained.
Eliminating all segregation and discrimination on Army post camps and stations is one of the things that Joe did. Then when Joe went with his group to England, he found whole towns off limits to black troops. So he made a call. He busted 3 generals and sent them back to the United States quietly. Joe did a lot of things for which he has never been publicly credited.
I'm only doing what any red-blood American would do. We're going to do our part, and we will win because we are on God's side.
But I just wanted to read some of this, right? So it says, Joe's meteoric rise from poverty and obscurity of an Alabama sharecropper's cabin to fame and fortune as the sports idol of a nation is an eloquent example of democracy in action, right? So this is basically what he represented, right? When he was in the media, this is what he was representing in in the world to a lot of people. It says, in one of the most magnificent gestures in the history of sportsmanship, the champ risked his most cherished possession, the world's heavyweight title, and donated his entire purse to the Army and Navy Relief Fund. Since his enlistment, Joe has been busy teaching his buddies how to slap the superiority out of the called Japan Nazi. So this was after Pearl Harbor, if I'm not mistaken. So this Jake did so much for Babylon, so much for Esau, and this is how they treat him, man. This is exactly how they treat, and this is why the scriptures say to never trust thine enemy, man. Salakia. Never trust thine enemy, and you have to know who your enemy is, man. He did all this for this bitch ass country, for the bitch ass Navy, for the bitch ass fucking Army, donated all this shit and enlisted himself for I believe 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. And then when you continue to read, he couldn't, the debt was so much because he retired. Let's see, yeah, he was trying to retire. Well, he did retire, but he couldn't retire because of this bitch ass Edomites tax shit, man. You know? And it just proves the curses, man. Let's get this real quick. This is one of the curses. Deuteronomy 28 and 65. And among these nations, right, among these heathen nations, shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing eyes and sorrow of mind. And Joe Louis, you know, is a prime example of that very curse right there, man. You know, here it is. He did everything that, let's just say, a Edomite, would say. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, be patriotic, love your country, blah, 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 blah. He did all these things. And this is how they treated him. Donated 2 fights and donated his time. And he was a very renowned boxer. So he believed so much in Egypt that he did these things, and this is exactly how Egypt had treated him, man. Didn't even pardon the stupid ass fucking IRS shit, man. And I'm sure if I was to do research, I will find multiple Edomites that have been pardoned for way less, man. I'm sure of it, But that just goes to show you that this is not your rest, Jake. Never trust your enemy. Never be in league with these devils, man. Because every time matter of fact, let's just go straight to the point, man. Let's just go straight to the point. This is Ecclesiasticus 12, otherwise known as Sirach 12 and 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. This is why it's so important to know that you have enemies, Israel. This is why we always hop on us brothers of knowing who you are and knowing that you have enemies and knowing who your enemies are, man. If we're in a spiritual war, then you have to know who you're warring against, man, and who's warring against you. Otherwise, you already lost the battle. Off rip, you already lost the battle. So through the spirit and power of Bahasham, Yahawashi, the apostles and elders have told us, and we're passing on the message to younger brothers and sisters, man. Never trust your goddamn enemy, man. Never trust these goddamn Edomites, man. Because they always show you that they're a bunch of pieces of shit, even if you bend over backwards to help them. The Lord said he would put enmity, hatred, right? Animosity between the nation of Israel, the woman, and the serpent, the seed of the serpent, man. Esau eating the so-called white man. So this is why it's so important to know who your enemy is, man. And to know that these fucking cave dwellers are not for your best interest, man. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood, man. Joe Louis did all this for his so-called country, right? And he still was utterly disrespected and spit on by the country that he went to serve. 17th verse. If adversity come upon thee, right? Because that IRS shit was adversity to him. Fucked his whole life up. And all he wanted to do was serve his country. But his problem was that if he would have knew better, you would have to be trying to serve Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, man. But it wasn't back then, it wasn't time for that yet. But I'm just using this as an example of how these devils operate, If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. Who? Esau. If you're going through some fucked up shit, your car is all fucked up, you can't pay your bills, you're getting taxed, the IRS coming after you, whatever. Best believe that this piece of shit ass fucking cracker ass fucking Chris Rock says cracker ass cracker, right? This damn Edomite, right, is behind it, because everything has been set to do nothing but oppress you Israelites, man. So this is why coming back to our power, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, while we can, is so imperative, because this just proves that once all hell breaks loose here in Babylon, these devils, these your neighbor, Ned Flanders and shit like that nigga don't give a fuck about you Israelites. yeah, he might smile in your face and, you know, offer to you know, water your lawn or cut your grass from time to time, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Bring you over a fucking cake or some shit. Say hi to your children. Y'all's children play together. If that nigga's truly a fucking Edomite, he don't give a fuck about you. All he does is care about his goddamn self, man. And once all hell breaks loose, once Jacob's trouble starts hitting and the society completely starts collapsing, you're gonna see that, man. You're gonna see it. So seek the Lord while he may be found. Because these devils, they're gonna show their horns. As soon as they start getting out of their comfort level, yeah, you're gonna see who they truly are. But they're putting on the front right now because they're still, you know, relatively comfortable. You know, but once everything continues to ramp up and they continue to get more and more uncomfortable and they're starting to see the writing on the wall, they're gonna show you who they really are. And if you don't take heed to Yahawashi and seek them before the evil days come, the Lord's gonna laugh at your calamity and he's gonna use the same devils to mow you niggas down, man. You know? So don't be going down to no fucking Egypt for help. Don't be partaking, you know, in their you know, looking to be patriotic and, oh, we could save America. We could go fuck this place. This place is gonna be destroyed, man. Thus saith the Bible. Rightfully so, man. This has been nothing but a bitter ass captivity for you Israelites. Why ain't anybody in their right mind, any Israelite in their right mind, want this piece of shit ass kingdom to continue? Why would you want to be under these goddamn devils a second longer? This place has to be destroyed. We hasten the day of the coming of the Lord. The captive hasteneth to be exiled. I can't wait for these devils to be put in captivity where they belong, man. I'm tired of looking at them roaming around free, knowing that they're supposed to be in a fucking kennel somewhere, man. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, he shall undermine thee, man. And that's these devils, man. And that's what they did to this Jake, you know? That's what they did to this Jake. You know, Salakia. Yeah, that's, you know, and that's exactly what they did to the brother, man. You know? They showed their hatred and bias towards him by not pardoning him from the stupid ass fucking tax shit, man. Even though he donated to the same government that the IRS comes out of, man. The hypocrisy of these fucking devils, man. You know? So this is why, you know, we're not gonna feel bad. We're not gonna shed one single tear, you know, for this piece of shit ass country, man. Babylon, aka America, man. The sooner it goes down, the better, man. Fuck this place, man. So, you know, that's pretty much it. You know, I just wanted to you know, highlight the fucked up shit, you know, that they have been doing to Jake for the longest, you know, and this is just yet another aspect of it, you know. Jake, you know, patriotic, you know, Jake wanting to help, you know, help his people. He believes in his country, you know, he donated to it, and to show that he how much he really did, he truly, you know, believed in it. He actually enlisted himself in a time of war. And then for the reward that they gave him, they didn't pardon him from the stupid ass fucking tax shit, man. Even though he already donated to it. So, you know, that's why we scream a Bob the Ball, man. A Bod Esau Edom, man. You know, and Kwame Yasharala, man, because this fucking place ain't it, man. This shit is not it. It's a joy to watch the fucking this shit crumble right before our very eyes. And, you know, we're hoping and praying that the Lord speeds it up even more, man. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, man. So I hope and pray that this lesson was edifying to the elect. I want to thank Yahawashi once again for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. And I want to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakadash, I want to give double honor to the apostles and the elders of GMS who teach and rule well, who taught me its truth. Salutation, you brothers and sisters that are out there listening and learning, fighting this good fight of faith. And salutation, my fellow brethren that are pushing this word in all truth and sincerity to you all. I want to say shalom. I want to say ababa ball, kwam yasharala, and shalom to the next one.
Final retirement from boxing was followed with a long downward slide into tragedy. Heavily pursued by the IRS, Joe began to lend his name to various manners of demeaning circus shows.
It was sad. That was the only way he could generate money to pay back the government. I can't imagine in any way, shape, or form that it wasn't humiliating to him or demeaning to him. But Joe Louis did it.
No appreciation was shown for his wartime generosity, as he was now being taxed 90% of his income. His children's trust funds were snatched up, as was the $600 inheritance that his mother had left him after her passing. The U.S. government made no exemptions and taxed a man who they should have forever been indebted to. It was an epilogue unfit for a man who did so much for his nation.